All right, everyone. Welcome to this episode of the Peaking Podcast. We have a fun episode this time. We have two guests on, which will be my first go of this. But we have Mark Abrams and Jake Leskovar. So Mark is the co-founder of Tree3 XP Flow. He's an entrepreneur, businessman, and I think will add a ton of insight and value to our listeners that are founders, future founders, and whatnot. And Jake Leskovar, he's the chief brand officer of XP Flow. So really excited to hear Jake's take on the affiliate programs and what is the latest and greatest coming out of XP Flow and the future of. So welcome both. Excited to have you guys. Maybe to kick off, Mark, do you want to talk a little bit about your background and who you are?
Yeah, first of all, Brian, thanks for having us. Really appreciate it. And hopefully I won't bore too many people and they might be able to take a couple of things away. I tend to be, I think I'm a lot younger than I am. I'm in the tech business and you'd think that it's a young man's business. I've been in it for a while, but I'm one of the older men in it, but have quite a fun background. So I started actually in politics. I got very involved in politics when I was 10, 12 years old, walking precincts. And when I worked in Washington, D.C. as a legislative aide at 16 years old. So I did some things kind of young. And then when I was 18, I decided to run for public office, which is pretty interesting. I was actually 17 when I filed. I won a seat on the local school board representing about 100,000 people
It's
in
incredible.
California. And I was elected when I was still in high school. So it's kind of an interesting story. So I handed out the diplomas as a school board member and actually signed my own diploma. So when I was walking around the campus at 18 years old, I was the boss's boss's boss. But I learned then that humility is the best way to go about things, and I didn't do anything special other than what I normally did, and people did treat me a little differently. So I did
Let me
that, and I ran
jump
again
in.
and got reelected. So it
Oh
wasn't a
wow.
fluke, a lot of publicity. If it was in today's day, that was in 1979. If it was today's day, it probably would be hugely viral all over the web. But at that time, I had a national coverage, but front pages of newspapers where they're actually newsprint at that time
Yeah.
went on. So
What led you to do that? What led you to run?
I, I, I always liked politics. I guess I started very young with, watching the news and being interested and liking history. And I really, at the time, uh, the district had split apart, it was splitting apart from another district. And at 17, they appointed me chairman of this. So I went before the state board of education to get this new district approved. Became close friends with the state superintendent of public instruction and lots of assembly people and Senate people. So when I got around all those people, I said, this is kind of fun. And then I had worked in Washington, D.C., and that was a blast at 16. It's a little different now, but it was pretty wild back then.
Yeah.
And the bug just hit me. I stayed with it a while, became a political consultant, and then started my entrepreneurial nature and liked the idea of making money and what that could do for me, and kind of went behind the scenes in politics after that.
Yeah. What was your first venture jumping into the entrepreneurial world?
Well, a couple different things. One is my family had a few homes and they were going to wanting to build something on it. And I didn't know hardly anything about real estate, but I had this basic background. So we built a very large medical building with lots of doctors' offices. And that was my first project. And in those days, I think it was $4 million. Today, it would have probably been a 50 or $70 million project. And that was how I kind of entered into it. And I did more projects after that, but I did everything from political consulting to wholesale beer distributorship to all kinds of different entrepreneurial aspects, not just the real estate at the time.
Got it. Got it. And then what about how did you jump into the tech scene? When did that journey start?
It was interesting. So I was partners with a group. We were going to do a very, very large hotel and condominium project in downtown Los Angeles. And I had met these people on that venture and became partners. And we started doing investing in oil and gas and everything else. And we had a tech company at the time that, and still do, I'm not as involved in it, from an ownership standpoint, that does, it's called WeScan, and it scans identifications for, like, for instance, Chuck E. Cheese, how many beers you have, or whether you're of
Yeah.
age, and it makes sure that the scanning tab is, and that tech is still there and very active, especially in Texas and kind of nationwide. So then we were presented, somebody called us and said, you need to look at this thing. There's a gentleman named Dr. Alistair Black. He's brilliant. He has 50 some odd patents, Stanford PhD. You've never met a smarter person in your life, and I still believe that's true. And if he listens to this, I do believe that, Alistair. And we met him, and he had invented, at the time, it was very early AI, but nobody was calling it that. And basically, it was kind of a robot, or something that would actually shop for you. So he said, "What do you think of it?" He said, "Disney's interested." So I put some people together, and we invested, a few $100,000 into the venture, and we're minor investors at the time. That slowly and quickly became a lot more than that, and
Yeah.
we eventually put millions into it. And we signed a deal. The first deal we signed for Tree 3 was the fastest deal they've ever signed in the history of the consumer products division at Disney.
Yeah.
And we took this tech, and what the tech basically does is allows you to have a complete shopping experience of any kind of store, any kind of manufacturer, brand, or merchant online, and you're not redirected. So normally, if you look at a site like Reward Style, Like to Know It, what happens is they have their individual, and I'm putting it down at all, it's a great platform, but you go to, let's say, one of their people, they're one of their influencers, and they have a dress that they like, and then they have shoes they like, and when you click it, you're sent to Macy's, or you're sent to Neiman Marcus, or you're
Sure.
sent, if it's sports, let's say, to Dick's Sporting Goods. What Tree 3 does is eliminates that. You stay on that site. You still see it's from Neiman Marcus, or Dick's Sporting Goods, or Macy's, and you pick those items and you put them in your cart. They're from those stores. You see the idea of it. In other words, you see the product or whatever it is, and you get the same price or better, and you put it in your cart. And then when you check out, you can check out at all the various brands, everything you want, but
Yeah.
there's no redirection, so you don't lose that person.
Got it. So, okay, so what was that aha moment when you started Tree 3? What was the moment where you said, "Okay, this is a real problem, and here's the solution for that problem."
Well, with any technology, you have to look at it. And in our case, what I would say is that we were ahead of the game, way
Right.
ahead of the game with our
Absolutely. What
AI.
what year was this?
This was 2015,
Okay.
so over 10 years ago. Uh, what the aha moment was when we met with Disney and they said, "Oh my gosh, we want to do this thing called You Do Wallet." And what it is it's a Disney sponsored shopping site for teenagers. And the reason for that is you can't go with anybody less than 13. It's basically against the law, so you can't solicit. So they wanted a site that was 13 and above. It would obviously have Disney products, but it also would have everything. Like, they wanted to go to the prom, it would have prom dresses, it would be Macy's, it would be whatever one they wanted. Disney's problem at the time, and we're actually dealing with another huge concern as the same issue, is they had at that time $60 billion worth of licensed products, but everybody else was selling them. The Disney store sold about $2 billion a year. So
Yeah.
what Disney was thinking is, we can grab all that, and in a sense, I'm going to call it double dipping. They were allowed to not just get their manufacturer's fee, but also get an affiliate fee
Right.
off of the sales of the items. And so that's what was so important. There was more to the Disney story, unfortunately, and I can get into it, but that was the first aha moment, especially when from start to finish we signed a extensive contract that's still in effect with Disney, and it was 6 weeks, and they had never done anything that fast. Disney's
Yeah.
like a country how it moves. So
Yeah. Now, was Tree 3, the technology itself, was it fully developed? Was it fully in
great
its,
question, Brian. So it was very developed, but not fully developed. And
yeah,
the difference is that the robot worked well, but not 100%. So we would have had a lot of people doing human intervention at the time. And I can tell
yeah,
you stories of people who tried to copy us, but we would have had a great deal of that. What happened was we took the technical risk out of it when we got rid of all those issues. And that really didn't occur for 2 years later. And in
mhm,
those 2 years, we spent millions of dollars perfecting it so that the robot, the AI would work. We got it working up to 98.5%, which is pretty terrific when you think about we had millions and millions of products. At one time, we had more products on our site if you wanted to use them than anybody but eBay and Amazon.
yeah. That's pretty incredible. And so this started in 2015, which really like LLMs, like the beginning stages was 2018, right? And so this was pre LLM, pre really big talk around AI. And so tell us about that. I mean, that's incredible to be at the forefront of building a tool like this.
We were popular. It kind of
Yeah.
reminded me back when I kind of liked the school board. We got
Yeah.
really popular, especially with investment banks and such, who thought, my goodness, let's just do this thing. And we kept saying that's fine, but we need to monetize it, which is always the issue, especially when you're early. And when you're early, monetization is a little tougher. And part of it's because of convincing people what to do, changing habits. It's so easy to shop on Amazon. It's so easy to shop directly to certain retailers. And in our case, we had to do something a little different. And then we tried to, and we did, we had some success at basically starting in 2019. We
Hmm.
spent a lot of time and a lot of money making sure that we perfected the technology, which is completely perfected now. It's a
Yeah.
it's a simple thing, basically shopping, but you can't imagine how big the program is. It's huge. It's huge.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think everybody, without thinking about it, if maybe not everybody, but quite a few people, right? You're on a social media tool, you're on Instagram, you see something, you click on it, and all of a sudden you buy it now. It's like have become so simple and streamlined. And I mean, that's, you see your influencer wearing it or using it, and you're like, okay, sure, I'll try that out. So it makes so much sense. So pretty interesting going even further back to how I'm really curious how that first meeting with Disney came about. Like that's not an easy customer to land. That's a whale, if you will, of a customer to land. And so how did that happen? What was that where did that
It,
come
it,
from?
it, it wasn't me. It's kind of serendipitous how some things happen. So one of our partners was is a very successful entrepreneur and had a meeting with Disney on another project.
Mm.
And the person who was in the room, one of them said, this is great. We're having another project we're doing and we're having difficulty. So he said what it was. Well, that partner had been doing things with Dr. Alistair Black for a long time and realized that he had a solution.
Yeah.
Literally, they hit speakerphone at that meeting, and Dr. Black explained what he had. Once they said that, they said, let's set up a meeting. We need to go. And then we did a presentation in person. Zoom was big, but not quite then.
Sure.
And everything was at their offices in Burbank. We did a presentation, and they just loved it. And our biggest champion at that time was the chairman of consumer products. But what happened is eventually he left right before we were ready to launch and became the president of ESPN. He still is president of ESPN. He's a superstar there. But he had kids and he loved what we were doing and the capability. So
Yeah. Very cool. All right. And so then you fast forward and what was the genesis of XP Flow? Where did that come from? How was that created?
So it was created because we met some people who had a product and they wanted to have basically a customized affiliate network that they could use and be able to do a marketplace on Tree 3. Well, what happened was we wound up on our own creating our own affiliate network, basically the first one that's been created in 10 years. And we made the affiliate network functionable where all the main items that anybody would want on affiliate network was there. So
Yeah.
if you have Rakuten, you have Impact, you have CJ, you have A1, you have those with all kinds of different abilities to do things. What we decided was, wait a second, AI is starting. This is last year,
Yeah.
and even though it was out there, it was still new. It was always new, always something new. And one of our engineers, our developers, one of our head engineers said, "Hey, we can create something that people would really use." And what that was, his wife is in the profession, is it allows the product managers who push the product. So I'll give you an example. One of our
Yeah.
clients is Rohrbach, who sells shirts. They have, I wish I usually wear one. It has a dog on it, and they do online, mainly golf. They do millions and millions of dollars worth of business a year, and they're mainly online. Well, in their case, they have product managers who reach out to affiliates, influencers, in their case, golf influencers, in their case, all kinds of people. And
Yeah.
what XP Flow does is it makes that job super simple. You know, Jake is here. He's the head brand officer. Jake, if you want to explain a little bit of exactly what XP Flow does, you do it so much better than I do. And Jake is interactive with the clients literally daily. So,
Awesome.
Jake,
Let's
maybe you
hear
could
it. Yeah,
comment.
Jake.
No, and I think you set it up very nicely, Mark. I think you know, in looking at what we can build with some of the AI tooling that's out there, it was our mission was how do we build a tool that is the most helpful to these merchants, because as I like to describe it, uh, brand managers and merchants and retailers, people who are in those positions, affiliate managers alike, are really in those positions to build relationships, not to scroll socials for potential partnerships. And so we were very cognizant of the fact that we wanted to provide them with a tool that gets them to that ability to create the relationship as quickly as possible, and remove as much of the friction as possible in that process. And so that's really what's led us to the product that we have today. It's really an interactive um, assistant, if you will, for the affiliate management space that
Yeah.
really is designed to increase, the output that you're able to have with those relationships rather than, it takes these folks spend hours scrolling to find potential matches. And those are even just to find the potential matches.
Yeah.
So, um, it's been really exciting to see this, kind of come alive, and a lot of it, has been shaped around the feedback of our clients. We work
And, you know,
with,
to take it simply, basically what we do is they have one click. It takes them a minute or two. They get five affiliates that would be interested in what they're doing. Let's say it's a watch. We have Noth Watch Company, for instance.
Yeah.
Those they click it. They get five people who either blog, sell watches, want to sell watches, and are big enough. So our
Yeah.
AI goes, searches these out, brings it back to them, sends a letter that's customized that does not look like ChatGPT. It
Yeah.
is done
Mhm.
very, very, very warmly. It changes our AI. We are literally state of the art with AI. I know you hear that, but we
Sure.
are. And we take it and these letters and the communication goes out, looks like we're really pushing to get them on there so that we get engagement. So they hit a button. Within 5 minutes, they've gone out to five people. They do that 20 times a month. That's 100. They reach out, and we're having about an 85% engagement. That means that those 85 people, therefore, are referring people to them to sell their product, like the
Yeah.
Rohrbach shirt or whatever. It
Now,
is
Mhm.
really amazing, actually.
are these affiliates already in your network, or are these going out and it's scraping and finding new affiliates? Is it both?
No,
Yeah.
it is affiliates that we're going out and finding. Eventually, we'll have our own database of them
Sure.
too because we put them in there. But the AI is so sophisticated that it can go out and say, when was the last time you blogged? Let's say somebody blogged even 4 or 5 months ago. It's going to reject that. It needs people that have done things instantly, that are selling.
Yeah.
It even goes to Google Analytics where it's going to find out how they sell, if they've sold, what they do. So they're not wasting
Yeah.
their time approaching people. And it's just
Exactly.
terrific. Now, somebody like Rohrbach, they might come to us and say, listen, we want 10 a day, we want 20 a day. But think of it, let's say in golf, how many golf influencers are there? Overall, affiliates out there, influencers, there's about 2.5 million of them. So eventually, when you're doing 100 a month, you're going to run into some things. So we do have a system that also weeds out who they've gone to and who they haven't, or somebody that they've gone to before and hasn't engaged recently, but maybe they did a few weeks ago. It's so sophisticated in what we do, and it's so seamless and so easy. And it works in conjunction completely with our affiliate network. So
Yeah.
they go ahead and they sell their product. The affiliate network takes over. We handle all the distributions, all the funds, all the tax, everything that has to go to the affiliates, and it's done seamlessly with absolutely no problem. And in some cases, our rates are better on our affiliate network than any of the others because basically right now, most affiliate networks charge a fixed amount, usually over 4%. We're a little bit more flexible depending on the size of the client,
Sure.
and it's a really neat thing. It's a whole package. It's not just
Hmm.
XP flow. It's the whole
Sure.
network. It's the whole idea behind it. So.
Now, are you finding that this is primarily within consumer goods, or is this are other industries and companies using outside of maybe a consumer product?
No, it's
Yeah.
mostly consumer goods, but Jake does
Yeah.
have a medical diabetes supply company that's involved. He also
Okay.
has, I think, a health company. We can do things like, I'm not going to say tickets because not tickets to concerts, but we can do subscriptions to things. We can do whatever it might be. But it's on the line of commerce, obviously. It's e-commerce, anything that can be
Yeah.
sold online. Jake, you want to?
Any of that? No, you put that very nicely. I think, yeah, in the larger umbrella, I think being, e-commerce and retail goods, like Mark said, I'm working with a lot of clients right now uh, who operate in a variety of verticals, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of those, consumer goods, and products of that nature. Yeah.
Interesting.
Brian,
So,
Brian, I know you want to talk about the struggles and everything. There's so many people out there who've been in my shoes and are in
sure.
my shoes, and I'm happy to talk about that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go. We'll pivot to that. I have one more question. I think on XB Flow. Okay. So I have my sister-in-law. She makes custom soap. And it's amazing. So, but she's never used an affiliate program. What's
Yeah.
the easiest way for her to get set up? I mean, because this just lands at home for me. I want her business to
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
well.
Literally,
Guilty goat. Okay, everybody, guilty goat. Go buy her soap. I am going to do that. Okay, but how does she get set up? How does she get set up and get
that is
going?
It's
so
very
easy.
easy for her to do.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very seamless. So
Um,
what happens is they contact us or we'll contact them. Jake sets them up. Right now we're in beta, so she's free for a month or so.
Hit her up,
After
Jake.
that, $99 a month, as long as you're on our affiliate network. We ask you to put all your products on the affiliate network, and you go. And literally, if she wanted to start in 2 days, she could start in 2 days. Jake, I don't know
Yeah.
if you can add to
yeah,
that.
no, that's one of the beauties of our platform, and really as we've developed and built out our, ideal customer profile. Um, I may be a little bit biased, but folks like your sister-in-law are exactly who we want to approach and introduce to the affiliate world because the way that our product is able to work is like Mark said, it's able to introduce them directly to folks who are interested in selling in that niche, and then provides them with the direct ability to, have their link and immediately start selling and generating revenue. So exactly like Mark said, contacting us via our website, and reaching out to our team is the easiest way to do that. And then from
And
there, it's a
Brian,
white glove experience.
right? Brian, you got to give us her name and everything. We'll contact her,
Totally.
put her on. Here's the
Yeah.
thing for her. It's free. She goes on
Yeah.
now. I mean, eventually be $99 a month, which is really super inexpensive. It's instead of hiring somebody to do this, which would cost
Yeah.
thousands, it's that if she's not on an affiliate network, she joins ours. She's going to want to do that anyway because she has to
Hmm.
pay the affiliates. It costs her nothing because she's doing that anyway. So
Yeah.
basically, for $99 a month, you have a automatic sales force in-house where
Hmm.
you hit a button and you have five a day reaching out to real people who want to sell the soap, who are in that market. And if it doesn't work for her, then maybe the soap doesn't work. But I got to believe if she's your sister, he probably has great
It's
soap,
great. Oh
and
yeah.
everybody would want to use
Fantastic.
it. So yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna tie you up and say by the end of this call, or sorry, the end of the podcast, you got to give Jake her information, and we'll give her all set up for tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
do that. Cool. Cool. All right. So pivot. Was I'm curious on as you were looking at XP Flow and you're building an AI powered solution, what was what are the key factors that you were thinking about when building out XP Flow to make it work so seamlessly? What key factors, what things were really important to you?
I don't know, Jake, if you want to take it or
I
I'll
was gonna
take
say,
it.
yeah, I can kind of run with
Awesome.
this one a little bit. As Mark mentioned, it was really a brainchild of really our development team, and giving us that behind the scenes look of, hey, we've got access to all these great, LLMs. Why don't we really do something here? And I think between that true passion of trying to really stay ahead of the curve, mixed with, I like to say that, I myself was very passionate about not wanting to just throw the AI label onto something, right? I think we see
Yeah.
a lot of that nowadays, because it's become a new buzzword. It gets you clicks, it gets you, exposure. And um, because we, as our team day to day are building a tool like this, we're constantly inundated with other tools, just as we're doing our own research and development and things like that. And so I've, firsthand been exposed to a lot of these tools that really don't do the job right.
Right.
Um, Tools that I've signed up for, trials or started a subscription, and I've inevitably left because I'm just not happy with what I'm getting for the value. And so um, we were really cognizant about building an AI tool. I know it sounds silly, but that actually works and performs a task, right? We want it to be a very interactive experience, like I said, and really act more so as an agent or an assistant, because, the goal for this is not for it to necessarily take over an affiliate manager's job, but it is to lighten their load and allow them to do what they really enjoy doing, which is kind of what I was mentioning with those, that relationship building
Yeah.
aspect. So that's really, I think between those two things, we've been able to develop a really sustainable product that I'm a big believer will, prove its um, prove its ability over time and in the market.
So,
Yeah.
Brian, one thing I want to emphasize here, what Jake said at the beginning, we didn't just build this because AI was around. We built a tool that we felt, not a tool, but a whole system that we felt would be a huge value add to any merchant brand or retailer
Yes.
in terms of selling a product. So we took AI and made AI work for this. We just didn't grab any old AI out there. So when I say state of the art and what we've done, we're well beyond what most people think. We're actually adding on things that even AI hasn't done. There's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of AI out there, but you have to teach that AI what it is you want to do. And we've gone well beyond that to the depths of AI, I'm going to call it, and put that together. And
Yeah.
it's exciting. And every day it's exciting. For instance, they wanted to add a chat tool. And the chat tool wouldn't be just a normal chat. It would be a real chat experience, nothing like you've experienced online before.
Yeah.
So I turned to our developers and said, okay, when's this chat going to be ready? And normally they turn to me and say 6 weeks, 6 months, whatever it is. Well, with AI helps build that if we tell it how to build it and what to do. So it's
Yeah.
supposed to be up and running by the end of next week. So
Yeah.
those are great examples of what we're doing. And you can hear the excitement in my voice because we actually have two developers that are AI developers that we pay money, and they're actually not people. I know people, there's controversy out there because of not being able, people losing their jobs. In our case, they actually help us. So we have two developers that work, and they do about three-quarters of the job as a normal developer. And why?
Yeah.
Because we have to take that quarter and tell them a little bit more what to do.
Yeah.
They don't talk back, though. I don't think they.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you comfortable sharing where did these come from? Is there a company behind these AI developers? Who are you using?
You know, I could tell you all of them, but then we'd have to not talk anymore. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
If somebody's interested, they can reach out to us, and I'm
Okay.
happy to share certain things
Yeah,
of
that's
what
cool.
we do and how we've done our journey. It's so varied, and it's also once you go into it, you really create it yourself. It's the Wild West, but boy, is it fun.
Yeah. What's been the greatest challenge with building this system and making sure everything flows together well?
You know, uh, Not finding clients, that seems to be, or customers, that doesn't seem to be the issue, which is great. Always a challenge, and, it's something to talk about is funding and money.
Yeah.
And so what do you do? This is not cheap. We have a nice staff. We, use AWS, we use all kinds of things, and we have expenses. And so the
Yeah.
challenge is always funding and
Hmm.
putting together money. Now, in our case, we decided to self-fund it at least for a year. We
Yeah.
are, though, just about to branch out into the investor VCP market,
Yep.
which we've done before, and have them join with us.
Hmm.
And I would say right now that it's mainly a few of our shareholders, but mainly my wife and myself and the family office that we have that's supporting it. So we're a little lucky that we're able to do that.
Sure.
That's really the biggest challenge anybody's going to always have.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't do it yourself. You could try, but it's going to be to do it the right way and to have a robust product. It's just not going to happen.
What key milestones have you considered and looked at when thinking about funding? Where did you want to get XP flow to, whether that's an ARR point, or, what metrics did you look at to say, okay, we want to go here and then we'll get funding?
So sometimes you run numbers on products and you look at it and you can't believe it. I'm just going to say that it just you look at it and the numbers are just astronomical in terms of
Okay.
what you're going to make. And in our case, the way we're making money isn't off of anybody that they're already paying. So
Yeah.
except for the $99, which is the small amount, that's what we're looking at. So we wanted to have in the 50, 100 range of clients before we walked out into the marketplace. But I'll tell you, the interesting thing is, and Jake and I were just talking about it, how do you determine what a client is? And Jake and I were going back and forth. Well, an
Yeah.
average client sells $50,000 worth of product a month, 600,000 a year. Well,
Okay.
we have one client that sells 70 million products a year online, and of those through the affiliate, it's probably 14 million. So
Yeah.
then you look at that, and Jake and I figured that was 30 or 40 or 50 clients in itself. So
Right.
once we're at that level, we have several of those. Once we're at this level, we've now gone out and literally started yesterday. But one other thing that we've done, and this is important, is if you can do things with family and friends and you can somehow bootstrap it and not be in a situation where you have to have the VC or whoever might be funding it.
Yeah.
you're in a lot better position to do things. Like our break even is just a couple, 3, 4, 5 months away, potentially. Maybe it's
Mhm.
6, maybe it's 7. Well, we easily have that runway to make that without having to depend on somebody to come in and, let's say, take half of the company, which isn't
Yep.
going to happen.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard asking people for money. I know it's hard raising money, but that's all I've done my whole life. I always say to people that I'm the founder of XP and I run XP. And I'm the founder of Tree 3 and I run Tree 3. But really, my title is chief salesman. And
Yeah.
that's what I am. And that's all I've been for years. And, you know, even to the people who listen to this, that's the best way to get a product forward. Now you have to be well-rounded. You have to be able to run things. But if you're not a salesperson and you don't have the ability to bring in that money, then you probably are going to have a lot more difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, that's really great to hear, and I think that is a challenge with a lot of people. Is a lot of people don't like to sell themselves or sell their products, and hey, it's really good, but like I don't understand why people aren't using it, and it's really having to put on that uncomfortable sales hat, which is really tough to do. So
So true. I mean, I will tell you that when I get on a call with investors, and I'm not talking about VCs or things like that, but just, friends and family, I dread it. I'll be frank, I dread it. I mean, they get on the
yeah,
call, I have a bunch of people, I'm like, oh my goodness. But once I get going, I'm so excited about what we're doing, and I know it's working, that it makes it a lot easier. The
yeah,
other thing, everybody needs to be tenacious. You got to, if you believe in it, push it, go it, don't give up. I'm telling you, there's so many people who give up when they have something that they really, really believe in. Try not to give up.
yeah.
If it's going to happen, it's going to happen quick and you're going to get through it. So,
Are you? Do you want to share maybe the first time you ever had to ask for money? Like, what did you prep? How did you do it? Where
I,
did you
I,
mess up?
I'll tell you, the first time, it's funny, our medical building, way back when I was 20 years old,
Yeah,
21 years old, we were doing office condominiums. It's something that was popular way back when. So I had to go to doctors and try to sell them their office space. Well, if you've dealt with doctors, and my son-in-law is a doctor, I have all family members that are doctors, and I love doctors very much. My parents were both psychologists.
yeah,
But when you deal with them and try to sell them something like this, you get doors slammed in your face or you get awful things. I mean, I had a situation where I was talking to a gentleman and he was thinking about doing it. And he's a doctor. And this is what Jake's never heard this story. It's a wild story. And he says, I'm thinking about doing it, but you're really, you're really pushing this on me, and I'm not so sure. And I just want to show you something. And he
yeah.
goes and he lifts up and he has his gun next to him. And I'm like, what? I'm selling an office condominium. What are you
Yeah,
doing with the gun? Anyway, he did wind up buying one. He was a crazy guy.
yeah,
So every time I talked to him, he, wheeled the gun around, and I figured, if that was my time, that was my time. But I've had many wild stories of people that, you know, I have some stories where I talk to people for 30 seconds and they send me $500,000. I've also had people that send me $500,000 and talk to me 500,000 times a day.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
it's all over the place. I will tell you, if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. You got to try to ask. Sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes it's frightening. A lot of times it's humiliating, but you just keep plugging.
yeah. How do you formulate the contracts? How do you conceptualize return on investment for these individuals?
Well, the way to do it is in all cases, pretty much, they buy shares with a securities purchase agreement or securities purchase document. That's all prepared by our securities attorneys. One of our securities attorneys happens to be Mark Cuban's securities attorney. It's very well done. It's concise. It does not promise a return. What we do is share demonstrations. Jake gives demonstrations sometimes. I share performance. I share what we're looking at and what we're giving. Now,
Yeah,
what would I like to do? I'd like to not ask anybody for money. I think
yeah,
we're in the position right now that if somebody wants to put money in, they can. I'm not asking for money at this point.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time to get to that level. What you want to do is you want to be extremely honest, extremely conservative, and make sure that they know that they need to be patient, that this might take a year or two to really develop.
Yeah.
XP Flow, we did other things with it over a year and a half, and it turned out that it now is moving very quickly. Well,
Yeah.
that's rare. That's really rare.
Yeah. 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 And I think this is for, a lot of those entrepreneurs that are building solutions and tools, but maybe are in that similar place of saying, okay, how do I get this to the next level? And so I think this is really great for them.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is I have been in the depths of the lowest of the low um, that I could ever imagine, and I've been back to the highest of the highs. And you got to remember those other times when, you're worried about whether or not you can afford a hamburger at Jack in the Box versus, a steak at the finest restaurant in Dallas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've been in both cases, and I'm willing to go to those cases. Even now, if I had to, Jake knows, Christine and myself are willing to give up whatever we need to in order to make a success of something we believe in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard if you ask, your parents or whatever. So my parents just passed away, but they put in $50,000 originally in the deal. Um, did I want to even get that from them? They didn't have as much money. I did. I had people that were, they might have owned their home. They were a accredited investor because of some assets they had, but they really didn't have a lot of cash. And then you're asking somebody to put up, 50, $100,000. So you better believe in it and you better protect them. And I will tell you right now that our shareholders are protected by us. And this is another point I want to make. If somebody invests with you and they call you, you take that call. I don't care how busy you are, or you return that call.
Yeah.
I return every call to every investor all the time. I have probably at this point about 200 investors, and we have group meetings with three of them once a month. Do I want to do them? Do they take time away from things? Absolutely. I would rather do something else. But I also get excited what we do. But you have to stay in touch with people. You can't run away.
Yeah.
And some of these people put money in, Brian, in 2015. So
Yeah.
imagine how patient that is.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Mark, how did you meet Jake?
Um, Jake, go ahead, Jake. You tell the story a little bit.
One of those, knew somebody who knew somebody. No, I originally got involved with Tree Three almost 3 years ago now. A good longtime family friend of mine was had a mutual connection with somebody that was working at the company at the time, and she sent it to me and said, "Hey, this looks like it could be kind of cool." And I was, really displeased with my previous position and, what I was doing with my career, and so I, jumped in on this, and it's been some of the most exciting, adventurous, and, eye-opening few years. Um, and I think, Mark said all of those things really fantastically, and really has been a great mentor for somebody who is, a young entrepreneurial spirit in the sense that, him and Christine lead with, with passion and honesty. And I think those are two of the most important things that you can find in founders, but also in people in general. And we're a very lucky team to have that. So it's
And
been,
Jake, I don't know if you
a
want to
great
talk about
experience.
our culture. Our culture is there's no really divisions. We might have different titles or positions, but everybody interacts with everybody. Anybody can call anybody at any time. Nobody has to go through me or Christine or anybody. They can do whatever. We
Yeah.
have now, because it's so exciting what we're doing at XP, we actually have three team calls a week, and one of those is actually the actual staff meeting. But um, I know our developers, I drive them crazy,
Yeah.
but like I did with you, the first 5 or 10 minutes of every meeting is usually me telling stories of something that either happened to me recently or something in the past. And we're very not we're casual with each other, but we're very interactive. And I want everybody to get along, everybody to know each other. There's no politics in the company. If there is, that's where I have problems.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody should be well respected, which they are. The other thing that I pride ourselves on, and Christine and I are both doing this, and I was taught this years ago, is right person for the right job. And if you hire those people and you make sure that they're in the good place, then you have a team member, you have a partner. You don't have just an employee. And Jake will tell you, I don't think I ever say the word employee. I just feel like everybody's with me. We also
Yeah.
obviously have stock ESOP plans where we give stock to everybody so everybody feels like they have ownership. And if XP does what we think it's going to do, then everybody will have a couple extra dollars. And then I can do my thing, and that is that my goal is to retire and be a full-time grandfather. So I just had my first grandson, and so that's what I want to do. And we're also
You're still going to
very
invest for the
charitable. So
companies, I'm sure. You're going to invest and just keep on building companies. You'll just be on the other side, maybe.
possibly, yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. Wait, startups are tough, Brian. I mean, it's more of a young man's job. By the way, I was going to tell you that Dr. Black has done this for so many years. He and I are 6 months apart in age, and he has his hair to here, and he's a really not heavy, just a big guy who's on Cal's rowing team.
No way.
And so you got two older guys with some amazing ideas. And I'll never forget in 2015, he would turn to me and say, Mark, if you don't get this going right now, I'm telling you, everybody's going to do it. It's good. And
Yeah.
to date, nobody has done it. Nobody can do it.
Yeah.
And we have all the patents to back it. And now we have AI where we've done the same thing and moved quicker than anybody else and gotten to market fast.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, maybe a couple fun ones to close it off. Jake, you mentioned leveraging AI tools. I'm curious, are you using any tool in your personal repertoire, in the business world, that you say, this is amazing? You know, maybe going beyond your standard like use of a chat GPT or something like that. You know, any specific tools out there that you think listeners should check out?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly a big proponent for tool hopping, which probably isn't always a great thing, but
Okay.
finding the tool that's going to be the most correct for you, even if that means it's something completely different. So we on a business side, we're big HubSpot fans, and obviously big into Chat GPT. But my one differential there, I think, would be that we're big on conversational Chat GPT prompts, and really working with ChatGPT as a team member. I think there's a lot of value in that. That would be probably my biggest recommendation is by really starting from true ground zero with a prompt and speaking to it like you would speak to maybe an intern or a junior level employee. It's totally life changing in the results you get.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say, those two tools together help us operate pretty substantially. Um, and like I said, just not being afraid to tool hop a little bit, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of them out there. So there's no shame in finding the right one.
Yeah. Mark, any words of wisdom you would like to leave? You've provided a ton of wisdom, by the way, but any additional words of wisdom you would like to provide to fellow founders out there who are maybe building an AI product?
First thing is, I'm a data miner. I mean, a data miner like you've never seen. And so when I see either a new product or something out there, I go online and I research it. And then I find the competitors and then I find the better product. And I throw things at poor Jake all the time, like I found this, I found this. What do you think of this? I set up demos. Sometimes I cancel the demos because I find something better. You need to really know your market, be in the time, be in the space, and live it. And it's hard. Life balance is really important. And I would suggest that something that I try to do is do as much life balance as possible. And if you do that and you are able to incorporate that into your business, you can. I'll give you a super quick example and we'll stop. But we're doing business with LIV Golf, Live Golf.
Yeah.
So I was just at the tournament in Virginia, actually, day before yesterday, where they had something called the Duels, and in it they had the named live golfers, Sergio Garcia, Phil Mickelson, John Rahm, and everybody too. And I was there, and part of it, I was given full access, which is I joke that I have full access to it.
Yeah.
Other people had 15 badges. I had one, and I ate with the players. And I will tell you, I had fun. So we're doing a big deal, hopefully, with Live. We're hopefully going to help them tremendously create, more revenue with product sales and XP Flow. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I had a blast. I walked around. I got to meet some of my
I
heroes.
bet.
I got to stand right next to people when they hit a ball that the concussion hit your head because they hit it so hard. So make sure you have fun at what you do. Make sure you like what you're doing. Um, that's the way that you're going to be successful. That's the way that you're going to be able to sell. That's the way that you'll be able to do whatever you want to do, whether it's keep the product, keep what you're doing, or move on to another one.
Yeah. Awesome. Um, Jake, where can people find you? How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, our website is just xpflow.app. We are xpflow. You can also just hit contact at xpflow.app. That'll directly link you to us. Otherwise, Mark and I are both on LinkedIn, and xpflow is as well. So we'd love to chat with anyone there.
Cool. Mark, what about you? Where can people find you outside of that? Same thing?
Same thing, LinkedIn. I'm not a big, it's so funny because we're kind of in the social media business where we're promoting influencers. And I have my sites of, Facebook and everything. I don't post. I post when my mother passed, when I got my dog, and when I got married. Other than that, I'm not a poster. However, I'm on it all the time. If you were on it, you'd probably see me because I'm on it and on other things. But the
Yeah.
best way to do it is just DM me, I guess called DM on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Get through. If you want to email me, I'll give you a simple email address. It's mark@tree3.com, TREE3.com. I
Awesome.
usually will get back to you. Just let me know what it is. I do love to give advice, maybe because I always say the best job I've ever done in my life, at least I hope, is be a father. I'm kind of like that with our people, so I'm happy to give advice, and usually I'll get right back to you.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you both. It's really been a pleasure, and I think so much value and wisdom was shared on this. So hope the listeners enjoyed, and you guys have a great one. Thanks
Brian,
again.
thank you. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Brian.
it.
You
Thanks.
got it.
Bye.